Good morning, everyone. It is a slow Tuesday morning, October 20th, 2020. As we take a break with Drake, we're coming to you live from the Plaza Theater in Waitsburg, Washington. Look at that glorious sunrise. It is spectacular. More spectacular than the opener this morning. Oh, goodness. Okay, now, Drake, I'm going to come over there and I'm going to fix that camera. It's catching something. Oh, it's catching the edge of your notebook. Can you see that?
No.
Yeah. I don't know if you're, yeah, I don't know. Your scroll. Your scroll is in the shot.
My scroll?
Yeah, your notepad. That's your scroll, right?
I've never heard that word for that.
Well, I'm just being, pretending like you're Paul the Apostle.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, why am I so giggly? This is really crazy. How you doing over there, Drake?
Whoa. That's my Little Richard reply.
Okay, you're doing great, hon.
Are we set to hit it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes. Oh.
It's just been a real challenge this morning getting all the stuff together.
Yeah, things happen like this.
Oh,
hey,
man, do
so
they
goes,
happen like this. And I try not to get overwhelmed, but shoot. So, hey, if you're out there and saying good morning to us, we're actually just getting on here right now. We're actually got ourselves together. So, anyway, good morning.
Well, I just got a ding pop on my phone that the Portland rioters continue to burn the city.
Can they just burn the parts with garbage?
Yeah. Why don't you just do dumpster fires and burn all the garbage?
Yeah, burn up the garbage.
But they burn
the nice stuff. Stop doing
art
that.
And buildings and architecture.
Well, yeah.
Anyhow, it'll end. So, oh, honey, are we going to do a bulletin blooper?
Oh, yeah. Just give me a moment. Give me a moment here. I gotta.
A little bumpy.
Oh, it is bumpy. Okay, so here we go. So, oh gosh, Drake, I'm sorry. I'm just like trying to do three things at once.
This reminds me of a church situation that happened in the late 80s, early 90s. And this pastor shared this with us at a conference. He said, he showed up on a Sunday morning and the kids had a sleepover, the youth group, and they didn't clean anything or the sanctuary. They just kind of went home at dawn and the sanctuary was a zoo. Paper towels, candy wrap. Oh my goodness. And the pastor was like, oh my word. They scrambled to get it cleaned up. The sound system failed, so lighting a fuse blew, boo, 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 boo. And he's thinking, these visitors are thinking, what a disaster. But the group that came, the visitors that came to church that day came to him afterwards and he said, you have no idea how you blessed us today. Everything that happened, the imperfections and the stuff and he thought,
even amidst all that, right?
Yeah, we all want awesome everything, but it's the fumble bumbles and the splash crashes and the recovery. And you never know who you're blessing.
That's true, you don't. Anyhow. Hey, good morning, Sally. Yes, the sunrise is amazing. Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Through all this.
And I hope we have Graham Dale. Hope we have Graham Dale come on from Oxford.
That's right. There you are. You're wearing your Oxford.
I'm wearing my Oxford shirt, the sweatshirt that he bought me.
Oh, did he? Oh, that was very kind.
He bought us this. Oh my goodness. Yeah. 2010. Yeah. 2010, 2011.
Well,
December.
and you have a Thessaloniki sunset in your backdrop.
Oh,
so
you bet. That's right.
That
I knew where I was.
You knew exactly where you were.
Okay. I'm in Thessalonica, Greece, because that's what's happening, dear?
The day the squirrel went berserk in the first self-righteous church in that sleepy little town of Pascagoula. Church bulletin bloopers. Okay, go ahead.
Here's one. This is from a bulletin. This is from a bulletin. It says, the low self-esteem support group will meet Thursday at 7 p.m. Please use the back door.
Oh, that'll sure help your self-esteem. It was a fight for survival that broke out in revival. There were jumping pews and shouting, hallelujah.
Oh my goodness.
Amen.
Boy, the
that is so funny.
The low self-esteem support group. I mean, that is something that's very a trademark of affluent society.
Yeah.
Because our concerns are so, I mean, this is something like 1,500,000,000 people right now on Earth don't even know what they're going to eat that day.
Yeah, no, it's more like the famine survival group.
or whatever, Mike. Oh my goodness, the low self-esteem.
Or as we are here, like in Portland, it's the riot survival group.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Anyhow, do we hit it, dear?
Hit it. You're doing great. You look great.
Okay, Paul is getting ready. I'm going to jump here and mention Paul is getting ready to visit Corinth for the third and final time.
Is this 2 Corinthians 12?
We're in 2 Corinthians 12, verse 11.
Okay.
And I think the title, we title it by the end here.
Yeah, okay, no problem.
Paul, well, the title that's in script here in the NIV Bible is Paul's concern for the Corinthians. Now, by the way, concern leads to discipleship. If you don't care, you don't do anything. But Paul does care, and so he does something. He is reaching out to them before his third visit. He's made a second visit. He kind of shot over there from Ephesus and then shot back. And my mind is clear on this, and it rarely is. It doesn't even mention this in the Paul's journeys, but he went over and made a quick stealth visit, and then he's going up. Well, you're looking at the map this way, and he goes up from Ephesus to Thessalonica, Berea. I think Pergamum's up there, Delphi.
Do you want me to put the map up real quick?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's here. Say it again.
He goes north from Ephesus after leaving Ephesus for the last time. He stays in Thessalonica. Titus comes with a report, and he says, hey, in general, big picture, they're doing way better. It's sort of like the joke, how do you pick your ethnic group if you like ethnic jokes. I think they're hilarious because they're the truth, especially jokes about white people. They're so funny. How do you sink a so-and-so, pick your ethnic group, battleship? What? Put it in water. So it's like the ship of Corinth, the church, if the church is a ship, it's the ship of Corinth, which is the church of Corinth, is ready to sail, but they're not done building it yet. You put it in water, it's going to sink. Paul can't just go, hey, take care, wing it from here, trust your feelings, Luke. They're not ready for that, but they are doing better. They're getting ready to where they're going to be a ship that floats. But they're not there yet. They're much improved. Titus meets Paul in Thessalonica, Delphi, Pergamum, Berea up there, the cities that are up there. I'm not looking at the map. You are. But there's a couple things that we got to deal with here. This is discipleship. This is church life. This is family life. This is caring. Some people, turn 18 and they hate their families for life after that, and I'm never looking back. Well, did you want to spend the last 18 years with a group that didn't care whether you sink or swam or died or lived or got devoured or thrived? Because the rest of the world doesn't care. But your family does. And to read caring as backward is like, you're hassling me. I remember if you corrected, there's some generation that was going on a couple years ago, and it's worse now. If you corrected them at all, you're yelling at me. Yelling at you? I'm talking just straight. 'straight. You're yelling at me. Stop yelling at me. Golly. That's what you get. You're yelling at me. I'm talking just straight. You're yelling at me. Stop yelling at me. Golly. That's what you get. You're yelling at me. Stop yelling at me. Golly. That's what you get. You're yelling at me. Stop yelling at me. Golly. You're yelling at me. Stop yelling at me. What do you want? Spend your whole life staring at kitty photos on Instagram? Come on. People step in and help you go. Paul is stepping in and helping them grow. And this title is called Concern for the Corinthians.
Is that what you're calling this? Concern for the Corinthians?
Yes, okay. There we go.
Okay, great.
Again, so they're much improved. Titus is back. He's getting an update. He's going to send Titus ahead of him again. Then he's going to show up. And Titus didn't go alone. He has to use a touch of sarcasm here again. You know, it's kind of like in Narnia where the kids arrive and, oh, we're fine. And the professor says, oh, I can see that.
Yeah.
You know. So you wish it didn't happen, but Paul's tried logic. He's tried love and caring. He's tried systematic thinking. He's getting a little exasperated with them here and there. Hey, I have made a fool of myself, but you drove me to it. Did logic work on you? Did systematic, perfectly laid out thinking, did that help you? Did gently correcting help you? Did further instruction help you? No, I've got to put on a clown suit or whatever you want. So I do this, then you call me a fool. Well, did you not want me to do this? I ought to have been commended by you. But he wasn't. For I am not in the least inferior to the super apostles, as they're calling themselves. Remember the apostles that say, oh, don't listen to Paul, listen to us. We're above him. We're better. You know, come on. Even though I am nothing. I'm not in least inferior to the super apostles, even though I am nothing. Life is like this. You got to use all weapons all the time to get where we need to be, and it's just the way things are. The things that mark an apostle, signs, wonders, and miracles, were done among you with great perseverance. That's interesting. You think of miracles as being kind of slipshod, surprise, Haley's Comet. You don't know when they're coming. You don't know when they're leaving. You don't know when they're going to see them again. It's sort of like an appearance of a phantom or Bigfoot or whatever. But the miracles and signs and wonders were done among you with great perseverance. That's what marks an apostle here. What did you want? What did you want? How were you inferior to the other churches? The Corinth church had a jitteriness about them. Oh, we're not as mature as Ephesus. Oh, we're not as good as the Thessalonian church. Oh, we're not as smart as the Christians in Athens. How are you inferior to other churches? Like, you don't matter as much as they do? Where do you get this? I remember as our orphan children got older, our oldest orphan daughter, when we got her, 11, she knew Russian, Romanian, and Moldovan. But somewhere around 14 years old, she was just crying one day. Honey, what's the deal? I'm afraid you don't love me as much as the other children. Oh, Lord, honey, no. Oh, good grief, no. Oh, you matter like, oh, my goodness. Honey, if you needed a pint of blood, I'd give you 3. I'd give you 4. I would drain my blood so that you could survive even if it killed me. Please don't think, where do we get this stuff? Where does Corinthian church get this stuff that you don't matter? Where do you get this? Who told you?
You're not the red-headed stepchild of the kingdom.
Yeah.
Although you act like it.
How were you inferior to the other churches, except that I was never a burden to you? A little sarcasm here.
Yeah, exactly.
All the other apostles burden you and bill you. I don't.
I treat you with kid gloves and walk on eggshells.
Yeah, they teach you whack-a-many cucamonga and you believe it, and they bill you. I teach you perfect, cogent, dead-on laser, they didn't use the word laser back then, theology, and I don't bill you. And how are you reading this whole thing backward? Forgive me this wrong. A little more sarcasm. Now I am ready to visit you for the third time. I'm going to jump a chapter just to look at this. At the beginning of chapter 13, 2 Corinthians 13, this will be my third visit to you. Every matter must be established by blah, blah, blah. It's summer 57 AD. I was not a neurosurgeon at the time.
No, you sure weren't.
I am now.
No, you're not. You are not. Oh, goodness.
He arrived in autumn 57 AD, and he stayed until spring 58 AD. He had less than 10 years to live. Nero was going to finish him off. He thought, if I kill Paul, I'll kill this movement. Now I'm ready to visit you for the third time, and I will not be a burden to you again. He never is. Because what I want is not your possessions, but you. I want you. It's very interesting. Verse 14 here, I don't want your possessions, I want you. I will not be a burden to you. I will come to you and visit you a third time. And jump in 19, everything we do, dear friends, is for your strengthening. I strengthen you, I instruct you. I do signs and wonders and miracles among you. Can you imagine what a joy it is to have Paul around?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. This is caring. This is discipleship. And when
he's the kind of apostle you'd like to have in town.
Yeah. And so he's like this, and he uses sarcasm here and there. He's just trying another tactic. Well, maybe I'll get their attention in the back door. So think, Guy Paul, you're being mean, you're yelling at me. Stop it. Just hear it. Understand it. And in order to, I love what our chancellor tells us, in order to understand something, you need to stand under it. And if you're standing under it, that means you put it over you. Put this instruction over you. Don't act like as you read the Bible, oh, I'm over the Bible. I'm reading it for what it means to me. How does this make me feel? How do I, that's not Bible study, by the way. That's group therapy. Read a verse. Well, how do you feel about this verse? Well, how do you feel about this verse? And how do you feel about, that's not Bible study. That's group therapy. The Bible is over us. We need to stand under it, or we'll never understand it. You follow that? So by the way, so this is for their strengthening. This is caring. This is discipleship. This is how you help somebody grow. We're supposed to help people to the next phase. We're in some movies. We've written some books, and people, oh, you listen. Hey, I'm small potatoes. I'm small potatoes. I'm not.
We're the smallest of potatoes.
Yes, I'm like a little, those little potato bags, and they get a bunch of little finger-shaped potatoes, and there's purple ones and orange ones, white ones and red ones and gold ones and brown ones. I'm small potatoes.
We're like little boilers.
Yeah, little boilers. But we've been around some people in our day,
we've been around some big potatoes for sure.
Yeah, top of the food chain. I'm not going to drop names here, but you know these people. And it's like, oh my goodness, there's one guy on my phone, and he says, call anytime. Who he rubs elbows with, who he has one-on-one phone calls with on his sealed cell phone that's unhackable.
He's an invisible big potato.
Oh my goodness. He is the spud. I'm small potatoes. He is a beach ball sized potato. This guy is, he's like so huge. Wow. And I say, how do you this and that? Oh, I'm with the king of so-and-so. Oh, I'm with the ambassador of whatever. Yep, I got to speak at the UN. What? And he's in... If I told you one more thing, you'd know who he's talking to. I'm going to leave it alone. And I said, how do you pull? He says, you know something? Where I am, I kind of don't even know or care or think about. I'm totally unimpressed with it, though I do honor these people that I give advice to. Mm-hmm. The most powerful people in the world. He's on, I've got his information right here on my phone. You're never going to find out who it is in 100 years. I said, what? He says, you know something, Drake? And I'll tell you this, and I'll tell you, and your wife. He says, God guides, and He continues to guide. And wherever I am, I find someone to disciple. Mm-hmm. And so God keeps guiding, and God keeps providing. Just disciple wherever you are. Just disciple people. Help people grow. Mentor them. Raise them up in the faith. And you're in God's will wherever you are. Whatever your hand finds to do it with all your might. That's how I do this. That's it. And so I keep running into and getting called by and asked to come visit and consult for and untangle messes for. Oh my word. Oh my word. He does like Paul. Everywhere. Look at that map again. All these places Paul goes to. He's just helping them grow. And you deal with everything from brilliance to sheer nonsense.
Yeah.
And just keep caring. Just don't go, that's it. I'm getting a house by the lake and I'm just going to fold my arms and I quit. Don't do that. Don't throw up your hands. No, we have to keep discipling. Mm-hmm. And this is what Paul is doing, and he has concerns. He says, did I exploit you? Verse 2 Corinthians 12, verse 17. He says, I don't want to be a burden to you, and I have not been a burden to you. Verse 16, yet crafty fellow that I am, I caught you by trickery. I sent Titus. Titus came back with a good report. There's a couple of things that are not okay, but we got to deal with that. So he deals with that, and then you're yelling at me. Oh, gee, I've got to fix this. If there was a way to fix that hole in the Titanic, should we have done it? Guy, you're being so offensive to the water. We have some dry in here. We need some water in here. That's diversity. No, I did the math this morning. The cubic feet of the exterior of the Titanic was 71,000 square feet of steel. The hole in the Titanic was a cumulative 8 inches by 8 inches. That is 2/3 of a square foot, one, out of 71,000 square feet of steel. Way below a 1% problem.
That's a very small percentage.
Here's another proportion. If the side of the Titanic was a cumulative 18 sheets of plywood, 18 full sheets of plywood.
Which it was way more.
The hole in the Titanic was 1 square inch. 1 square inch. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's not a much. That's a small problem. It takes the whole thing down.
Yeah.
So Paul is dealing with these things. He's, guys, you're going to deal with this, or it's going to take you down. It's going to take the whole thing down. I was in a speech class 40 years ago. We had this kind of saucy girl in there, and she gave her speech, and she talked about health, and she talked about, stretching and exercising and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And of course, I listened, and she said something she was doing that was very unhealthy. And the teacher said, you talk about all this health, and then you do that? I don't know what it was, a little poof of cocaine. He said, I just do one a month, or something like that. I don't remember. It was 40 years ago.
Wow. Well.
And the teacher says, you just gave a speech about being healthy, and then you mention this, and you sound as committed to that. You only do it for 2 minutes a month, and then the rest of the time. And you know what she said? She says, well, I've got to have some bad things about me. She had this real high IQ grin on her face after she confessed to that.
Oh, my.
The teacher said, sit down. That one little thing will take it all down. And when Paul comes in to correct it, let him do it. Everything we do, dear friends, is for your strengthening. Verse 20, 2 Corinthians 12, verse, for I am afraid that when I come, I may not find you as I want you to be, and you may not find me as you want me to be. You upset me, I'm going to deal with it. I smell these problems before you do. That's one thing about kids. Until they're 25, the logic isn't all plugged together, and they don't even have the faculties to calculate where their behavior is going to lead them. They've got to be instructed. Kids that just left to their own turn into Lord of the Flies. They don't grow up and become architects and build orphanages and redo cities and beautify country. They don't do that. They come up and they're hellions that just tear the place apart. These riders are unmentored nincompoops. Oh boy, I said it.
Nincompoops. Well then.
Look, I remember...
you got about a minute left,
yeah,
by the way. I don't know if you got your phone there.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I remember one of our kids, they said to me one morning, what?
There was some oatmeal in the cupboard, but I didn't want it.
And they mumbled again. And I said, I can't do it. And they said, I told you I don't like the sauteed, something with the mushrooms or whatever it was. I said, hey, that's the first time. I've been around in your life 14 years. I never knew this. Well, come on. I can't decipher, and I would instruct them. I very clearly, very systematically, and we'll be back in 2 hours, and I want this needs to be finished by then. Come back, nothing was dealt with. And I said, what? And so they are upset. They're acting like the Corinthian church. They're upset that they don't talk clearly. They're upset that they don't listen. Now and then I would go, hey, straighten this up. I feel like the Incredibles. Hey, I just cleaned this up again. And then I wish I never got loud, but a couple times I did. They don't like the loudness. Well, straighten the mess. And then I would counter that with some sarcasm of being fun and just fun. And then one of them says, your dad, you're so mature. Nonsense everywhere you turn. Paul's dealing with this in Corinth. Nonsense everywhere. Though most of it's good, these couple things Paul is dealing with. And anyhow, when Paul steps in, because these verses correct us, I'm afraid that when I come again, my God will humble me before you, and I will be grieved over many who have sinned earlier and have not repented. You can read the end of the chapter there. I don't want to end with that passage. You can read it.
Can we? Can we?
Yeah.
Okay.
1 Corinthians 12. Read it to the end of the passage, and there's illustrations about what these cities were like. And God eventually transformed them all, but they were still kind of rough. Remember, Corinth was a brothel town. I'm like, nah. It's a sin to even mention what the godless do in secret. I had an illustration about what happens at world gatherings, but we're going to skip that. So, the blessing at the end of today is what Paul says to the Corinthian church as he says goodbye to them. And I think we're going to end with this on the final chapter of 2 Corinthians. We'll do that probably Thursday. He says, finally, my brothers, goodbye. Greet one another. All the saints send their greetings. May the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ and the love of God and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with you all. The Apostle Paul sends his love, and so do we.